Baylor men's basketball coach, national championship coach, got through with me. David Smoke on 365 Sports. Texas tomorrow morning. They're kind of in a tough way, and I know coming off a loss, you're not feeling very good yourself as far as probably grumpy. In this conference, if you burp, you could look at 2, 3, 4 games where all of a sudden it's an uphill climb, but you have to think about it game to game, right?
100%. And I mean, there is no one undefeated or in first place. And if you look at it, a lot of teams, it's win a game in overtime, lose a game in overtime, win a game on a last-second shot, lose a game on a last-second shot. If you look at our close games, we're 5-2. We've lost to Duke, we lost to Kansas State, and we beat Auburn, we beat Florida. You beat Cincinnati, BYU, and who's the other one I'm missing? That was a close game. So we've done a good job but if you're in one possession games, you're not going to win them all. Is my point.
Do you have the guy, the alpha, who, if it's late in the game and you have to take a shot, do you have that one you want to be the one that takes the shot, or are you still searching for that? Well,
I think it's a great question, and if you're a good team, hopefully you have multiple people that can make that shot. And the reason I say that is, if you just got one, well, you're going to trap them and or deny them the ball, and then now you're in trouble. But if you look, our end of games, Ray J has been phenomenal, and Florida, it was him scoring. But like you look at K-State, into the half, he gives the ball to Josh for a bucket. In the regulation, a wide-open shot for Jaden, and into the OT, wide-open shot for Langston. So a lot of times you have players that have the ball and feel like they got to take the shot. And as a coach, what you want is you want the right shot. And I look at football. If you got a great receiver, but he's covered, your second receiver's wide open, why aren't you throwing it to him? You know. And with us, it's we want the right shot, and you got to have a point guard who's willing to take the shot, but also not force a shot to get a good shot.
Is free throw shooting the same as a guy that fumbles a couple of times? The less you talk about it, the better, or how do you handle that?
We engage, and we try to put them in more pressure situations. That's what we tried to do yesterday. So our free throw shooting has been one of the best in the nation, and that's been a strength. But it obviously, you're not going to win games on the road like that. And so we spent time talking about it, and then we practiced putting them in different situations to try to more simulate game pressure. But free throws can become mental, like putting for people that golf.
Yep.
The big thing is make your correction, and then get your routine, and then you got to get confidence in that routine. And nobody's perfect. Nobody shoots 100% at the end of the year.
Do you, or are you still kind of searching for your rotations?
I think that's something that with most teams nowadays, I think is a constant journey. And why I say that is because injuries, illness is number one. Number two, people start to play better. Some people don't play as well for stretches, but also because you have so many new players. I mean, if you're only adding 1 or 2 or 3 guys a year, and the 3 you add, one of them's playing and that's it. Well, the other 7 or 8 in your rotation are used to being in your rotation. You know what you have. And I think that's the big thing in the parity in college basketball. If you look, if you're a ranked team, you probably lose.
Yep.
And the reason is, a big reason is everybody's got talent, but it used to be the teams that had talent also had chemistry. And they had guys for 3 or 4 years or 2 or 3 years. And just the longer you spend with someone in the fire, the more you know what they're going to do. They know what you're going to do. They know the defensive scheme. So without all of that, talent's great, but chemistry can overcome that too, you know? So it just makes it, I think that's a big reason why you have the parity we have.
And it's even more difficult because you're playing at a conference where there are no gimmies. I mean, you just
yeah. And the big thing in I mean, it's the most teams we've ever had ranked in the Big 12, 8 in the top 25. And again, I don't know how long that lasts because everybody beats up on everybody. But I mean, the home court advantages are so good in this conference. It is really hard to, and you even watch the games on TV on the road, and the arenas are, I mean, they're loud, and teams play so well at home. It's hard to get road wins.
You are still among the top teams in the country when it comes to three-point percentage. I think Indiana State, Samford, Baylor, right there in that conversation. I'm not sure if that's completely updated. I think it is. But lately, or in conference play, that hasn't been as effective. Is it because not that you didn't play good people in non-conference, because that's what you do.
Yeah.
Is that just something that's going to eventually drop a little bit, or is there something missing there?
Well, going into conference, we were shooting 47%.
Right.
I think most people would say that's not going to continue, especially in our league with the defense is so good. With that, in conference, it's always tougher because there's tendencies. People have scouted you. Players have played against each other. So it's always, I mean, if you look at the Big 12 scoring average prior to the start of conference and probably look across the country. I mean, non-conference, there are a lot of games in the hundreds and the 90s and the 80s. Now you see conference games in the 50s and 60s. So it's just much more difficult. With us, I think, we were 47%. Now I think we're 44, 42, something like that. But the reality is last game we missed some open shots, but we didn't get enough good looks. So you can credit Kansas State's scouting, their defense for some of that. And then we got to do a better job being more patient. We have a full shot clock to get a good shot. We don't have to take one in the first 15 seconds if it's not there.
Texas is coming off that loss to UCF, which surprised a lot of people. They're 1-3. They still have to sue and A. Smith and others. What is the thing with them to try? And can you also? People took advantage at times with your size against you, their offense against your guards last year. Is that something you feel like is a strength maybe on Saturday?
Well, we're bigger than we were last year, but I mean Texas, just like every other team in this league. I mean they were up 16 against Central Florida at home, so normally you win those games. And West Virginia came down to the wire. I mean they could be 3-1, just like probably every team in our league could be 3-1 or 1-3.
Right.
And,
yep.
And I see that continuing. So at the end of the day, you got to execute, and our goal is to do everything you can do. So it's not a one-possession game, because in a one-possession game, anything can happen.
Scott, there was a point when I think Jaden Nunn was shooting the free throw, and of course Jaden made a big play at the end, but he also had the foul and then the free throw shooting. We've discussed all that, but it's almost like you closed your eyes and took a deep breath. You've been through a lot. I mean, you've been through some exhilarating wins and some excruciating losses. How often do you just get a chance during the game to just take a deep breath and let it happen?
Normally not often, but when you get overtime, you got an extra chance for a pause in there. So, I mean that's part of why, if you look at it, Jalen Bridges is our only returning starter. And the arenas that used to not be intimidating are all smaller and louder and better. So when you go in a hostile arena, it makes you uneasy. And that's part of the home court advantage. And I think that's part of, if you come from a lower conference, that's an adjustment. If you come from high school, that's an adjustment. If you come internationally, it's an adjustment. So conference play, there's just more at stake. There's more intensity, more detail, and everything's just harder. So it's an advantage always when you have guys that have been through the fire and have 2 and 3 and 4 years of Big 12 experience to draw upon. For people that don't, I mean, I think our players have done a phenomenal job, all the new ones, in adjusting to the schedule we put in front of them and the teams that we've faced. So now it's a race every day to keep getting better and be at our best at the end of the year so that you can win the last game.
It's like a street fight every game, every day, every practice even. Scott, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Baylor and Texas and Austin tomorrow morning. This is 365 Sports. Waco Custom Marketplace is your home.